Welcome to my channel. Subscribe and enjoy my new stories every day. The evening was quiet, a soft hum of silence permeating our little house as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. I had just returned from a grueling day at work, my mind weary but unwilling to surrender to the mundanity of another silent dinner. Impulsively, I decided to dust off the old record player that had not seen the light of day since our last anniversary. It was a relic, a testament to our shared love of vintage and the simpler times of our early romance. With a sense of nostalgic excitement, I rummaged through the cabinet where we kept our collection of records. That's when I stumbled upon a record enveloped in a sleeve I didn't recognize. It was pristine, almost glowing amidst the old, familiar albums. The cover was simple, elegant with handwritten script that read, "Our track with love." My brow furrowed in confusion. I didn't recall us buying this record. Surely, I would have remembered such a sentimental inscription. Curiosity piqued, I slid the record out and placed it on the turntable. The soft crackle of the needle touching down brought a comforting anticipation, but what flowed through the speakers wasn't the melody of nostalgia I had expected. It was a song I had never heard before, a soft, intimate ballad that spoke of secrets and hidden moments. The voice was hauntingly familiar, yet painfully foreign. The realization hit me like a cold wave, this wasn't our song, it couldn't be. It was then that a small card slipped from the sleeve and fluttered to the floor. I picked it up, and my heart sank as I read the note, written in a delicate, unfamiliar hand. "To my dearest, may this song always remind us of those precious, stolen moments. With all my love." The room spun as the gravity of the betrayal sunk in. This record, this love note, it wasn't meant for me. It was from someone else, someone she cherished, someone she was with behind my back. Anger surged through my veins, a fiery, raging storm that blotted out reason and grief. How could she do this to us? To me. After years of marriage, of shared dreams and intertwined lives, how could she throw it all away for a clandestine affair? I spent the night pacing, plotting, the haunting melody still playing in the background, a constant reminder of her deception. By dawn, my plan was set, a plan not just to confront her but to ensure she realized the full extent of the pain she caused. If she had chosen to ruin our life with her lies, then I would make sure she lived to regret her decisions. As the first light of day crept through the curtains, I turned off the record player, the song ending with a final, mournful note. I was ready. Today marked the end of our life together and the beginning of her reckoning. The morning light cast a harsh glow through the sheer curtains, serving as a stark reminder of the night's revelations. I prepared myself, both mentally and physically, for the confrontation that was to come. My heart thudded in my chest as I heard the turn of the key in the door. She was home. As she stepped inside, her face lit up with a weary smile, unaware of the storm brewing. "Hey, love," she greeted, hanging her coat. Her casual demeanor stung, fueling my resolve. "Can we talk?" My voice was steady, belying the turmoil within. Her smile faltered, sensing the gravity in my tone. "Of course, what's up?" She sat, her posture tense. I didn't waste a moment. "I found something interesting last night." I tossed the record sleeve onto the coffee table between us. Her eyes widened, a flicker of fear passing through them as she recognized the item. She hesitated, then reached for the sleeve, tracing the words, "Our track with love," with a trembling finger. "I can explain," she began, her voice a whisper. "No," I cut her off, my tone icy. "I want the truth. All of it." The room filled with a heavy silence, the kind that suffocates. Finally, she spoke, her voice breaking. "It was a mistake. I met someone at a conference last year, and things just happened." "Happened?" I echoed, my voice rising in anger. "You make it sound like an accident. Betrayal isn't an accident, it's a choice." "Why?" Tears brimmed in her eyes. "I was lonely. You were always busy, we barely talked, and he was there. Her explanation sounded feeble even to her own ears. That's no excuse, I snapped. We vowed to be there for each other. If you were unhappy, you should have come to me. She sobbed, covering her face with her hands. I know, I'm so sorry. I ended it, I swear. It meant nothing. Sorry. I scoffed, the sound bitter. Your sorry changes nothing. You've broken us. What do you want from me? She pleaded, desperate. I want you to understand the consequences of your actions. My mind raced with the plans of revenge I had concocted, each scenario darker than the last. I want you to feel the pain you've caused me. Her face drained of color. What are you saying? Consider this us over. I'll be filing for divorce. The words felt hollow, but necessary. And everyone will know why. Your parents, your friends, they'll all see the real you. She gasped, the finality of the situation dawning on her. Please, don't do this. We can fix this. It's too late for that, I declared. The part of me that still cared for her, that remembered the love we once shared, ached. But it was overshadowed by a darker desire for retribution. She stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the hardwood floor. I'll leave, she said quietly, her voice choked with tears. As she packed a bag with trembling hands, the gravity of our shattered lives weighed heavily in the air. I watched her leave, her figure diminishing with each step. This was just the beginning. The pain of betrayal was deep, and my plans for revenge were only just unfolding. The record, that symbol of her infidelity, spun again in my mind, a reminder and a motivator. I was far from done. The house felt eerily silent after she left, the echoes of our last conversation haunting the empty rooms. The pain of betrayal was still raw, a seething wound in my chest. I knew I couldn't just sit and wallow, I needed to act, to make her regret her choices as much as I regretted ever trusting her. I spent the morning making calls, my voice steady as I explained the situation to her friends and family. Each conversation was a calculated strike, ensuring her support system knew the truth of her infidelity. The reactions varied from shocked silence to angry outbursts, not at me, but at her. It was a small, cold comfort. But that wasn't enough. Not for the depth of betrayal I felt. I needed something more, something that would hit even harder. That's when I thought of him, her lover. I had his name from the note, and a few discreet inquiries led me to his workplace. It was time for a face-to-face. I arrived at his office in the late afternoon, my heart pounding with a mix of anger and anticipation. The receptionist eyed me curiously as I requested to see him, no doubt noting the grim set of my jaw. He emerged a few minutes later, his expression one of confusion which quickly turned to apprehension when he saw me. "Can I help you?" he asked, his voice cautious. "I think you know exactly why I'm here," I said quietly, stepping closer. His office was busy, the hum of workday chatter surrounding us, but it felt like we were the only two people in the world. He glanced around nervously, then gestured to a small conference room. "Let's talk in here." Once the door was closed, I faced him. "You know who I am?" He swallowed, his composure cracking. "Yes, I'm sorry." "Save it," I interrupted. "I'm not here to hear apologies. I'm here to make sure you understand the consequences of your actions." He sank into a chair, looking defeated. "What do you want?" "I want your resignation from this job," I said. It was a harsh demand, but I needed him to feel a fraction of the disruption he'd caused in my life. "That's unreasonable," he protested, his face paling. "You can't ask me to." "I can and I am," I cut in sharply. "You involved yourself in my marriage, in my life. Now, you're going to face the fallout." He ran a hand through his hair, his anxiety palpable. "Please, think about this. I have a family, You should have thought about your family before," I retorted coldly. You have until tomorrow to make your decision. If you don't resign, the details of your affair will become very public. And trust me, I can make that happen. Standing, I left him there, stewing in his own panic. As I walked out of the building, a bitter satisfaction settled over me. It was a dark feeling, one that didn't quite fit who I used to be, but it was all I had left now. Back home, the quiet was no longer comforting, but I knew this was just the beginning. The gears of retribution were turning, and there was no going back. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the room, I felt a resolve harden within me. This was the path I had chosen, driven by betrayal and a desperate need for justice. The endgame was still unclear, but I was ready for whatever came next. The night was deep and quiet as I sat alone in the darkness of my living room. The shadows seemed to pulse with the turmoil of my thoughts, each one echoing the depth of betrayal and the cold path of retribution I had chosen. The past days had been a whirlwind of calculated destruction, targeting both my unfaithful wife and her lover with a ruthless precision. But tonight, it would end, once and for all. Earlier in the day, I had received the news I was waiting for: her lover had resigned, his career in shambles. The satisfaction from that victory was sweet but fleeting, for there was one last act to perform in this dark play of vengeance. I had arranged to meet her one final time under the pretense of signing some last-minute divorce papers. The location was our old favorite cafe, a place that once symbolized our shared dreams and now stood as a stark reminder of how far we had fallen. She arrived, looking weary and diminished, a shadow of the vibrant woman I had once loved. "Is this everything?" she asked, her voice hollow as she glanced at the documents. "Yes," I replied coldly. "Just sign here, and we can finally end this." As she signed her name, the pen seemed to tremble in her grip. I watched, feeling a surge of bitter triumph. When she finished, she looked up at me, her eyes searching for a hint of the man she once knew. "Is there any part of you that still cares?" she whispered. "No," I said without hesitation. "Not after what you did." Her eyes welled up with tears, but she quickly wiped them away. "I guess this is goodbye, then." "It is," I confirmed, and as she stood to leave, I added, "and there's something else you should know." She paused, turning back. "What?" "The record, our track with love, I knew about it all along," I revealed. Her expression flickered with confusion, then realization dawned, horror spreading across her face. "I planted it. I wanted to see if you'd lie." The color drained from her face. "What are you saying?" "I wanted to test you," I said, each word sharp and precise. "And you failed, miserably. You tricked me." She staggered back, a hand to her mouth. "Yes. And now everyone knows your true nature," I continued. "Your family, your friends, they all saw the real you because of what I set in motion." Her knees seemed to buckle as the full weight of my deceit and planning hit her. "You've destroyed everything I had," she gasped, her voice a broken whisper. "I only gave you the stage to destroy yourself," I replied. "I needed to see if you were still the woman I married. You're not." With nothing left to say, she turned and walked out, her figure disappearing into the night. As the cafe door closed behind her, I felt a chilling release. The revenge was complete, the betrayal fully avenged, but at what cost? I sat back, the weight of my actions settling around me. The victory was Pyrrhic, leaving me with nothing but the ashes of a life once filled with love. I had thought that revenge would bring satisfaction, but as I looked around at the empty chairs and the quiet street outside, I realized I had lost far more than I had regained. The deception, the calculated revenge, it had changed me, hardened me. As I left the cafe, the cool night air felt like the closing of a book, one whose ending was as bitter as the path that led to it. I had won, but I had also lost everything.